Can. Cool.
Yeah, I love that view. You're in Seattle?
Yeah. So
What's
I live in
up?
yeah, I live in Washington. When you were like, I saw your links in Oregon. I was like, what? You're all the way out here in the west. I mean, you're in Reno, so I guess it's still kind of like western side, but yeah. Is the noise going to be okay? Because I can go back to my car. I don't mind doing that. I just want to make sure, like, they do have planes going off around here, so I just want to make sure it's not going to bother the noise too much.
No, not at all. I can hear you just fine. I think background noise adds some spice. Some spice is
Oh,
nice.
cookie, right? What is that? Powder Puff Girls.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, first off, I mean, it's really cool to have this together. It's our first time really talking because I know we've chatted a little bit, like on and off. I know you got a busy schedule, but I'm just excited. This is going to be a fun time, and I just can't freaking wait. So,
I know I told you the other day, I was like, you're gonna learn that once you get to know me that I kind of just fly by the seat of my pants. So I appreciate
yeah,
you just clearing your schedule and jumping on with me. I
yeah, no,
I
well,
already kind of told you, but I this podcast has been something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and actually
for sure.
you were one of my big inspirations to start doing this because
Thank you so much.
hopefully anyone who sees this goes and checks out your page because you offer a lot of just super valuable mindset, I guess, material, you could say,
Thank you. Thank you.
insights. And I've always just really appreciated the energy that you put out there into the world and the creativity. And yeah, keep it up. So thank you for being on
Thank
here.
you so much. Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, like I have not been like podcast recording. I've been trying to figure out a better way to like because the whole point is to go from a podcast to actually go to like a video streaming concept at some point. But it's like other than just equipment, I want to make sure I do things right. So when you're just like, excuse my language, it's like fuck it, just do the best you can. I'm like, shit, I better work on this Zoom thing because Zoom, at least on the minimum, that's a great way to like record and get video out there. So great job for you in doing that. But um, I can just say, like, I personally just like I like to adapt. I like to learn new things, and that's the only thing that's really kept me going. Is that I mean, I really look to you and a few other people when it comes to like the gym reference because I'm like I just started going to the gym in May, so it's like in terms of like intensity and stuff. I know you've been kicking ass at this for years, on top of just like competing and just getting into the gym world, but yeah, I kind of wanted to ask you what really like spurred the whole like going to the gym because like I'm meeting you kind of like at the end of the movie in the sense where like you've competed, you've been going to the gym for multiple years, just been kicking ass, but like at the very, very beginning, why did you want to start going to the gym?
It's so funny because I feel like I'm just getting warmed up. I feel like we're
Oh,
still in the
really?
like the credits are still rolling and like the
Okay.
opening hasn't even hit yet. But that's a really important question, I think that I have to remind myself of a lot
Sure.
because I think it's always important to remember where you came from
Right.
and why you started anything, especially things in life that are really long-term goals. Um, so I was pretty active as an adolescent. I grew up like skiing
Okay.
and mountain biking and surfing even for a while, but I didn't really ever know what the fuck to do in the gym. Like I would go to the gym and I would just like pick a machine or I would do all the machines and whenever I would go into the gym it was kind of to support whatever I was doing like mountain bike racing. Um,
Right.
I just didn't know. I had no idea. And in my generation, we didn't have any of the social media like,
Right. Right.
influencers. It was like magazines, pretty much, is all you could really get information from. And then kind of like later on, YouTube kind of came in.
Right. Kicked off. Right.
That's yeah. But I went through a I went through a really long partying phase. I went through
For
a
sure.
phase of my life where I don't know, man. I didn't really care about anything. I didn't care about
Mm,
myself. I had no self-respect. I had no direction. I really didn't realize it until later on in my life when I started kind of like doing that inner work that
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I know why I was doing that. I was like angry at this or that, and I really didn't. didn't appreciate myself or value myself. So that was directly reflected in the way that I treated my body. And
Okay.
so after just so long of that kind of a lifestyle, I just felt blah. I didn't feel good. I
Mm,
didn't have anything in my life that was really fulfilling me. I was bored with the party scene. I was bored with the people that I was around. I wasn't really
right.
being challenged in a good way
Mm,
by any of it. And I will preface this by saying that I'm the one who did that. Like I chose those people to be around me. I chose those situations
right.
around me. So like it was kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy,
For
like
sure.
I didn't really appreciate myself or value myself. So I had like a lot of things of very little value around me.
Right.
But I just felt kind of like I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to try something different. I was in an abusive marriage at the time. And
Gotcha.
I ended up blowing out my knee skiing and I was laid up on the couch for a while. Because if you've ever been through surgery or anything like that, it's like, oh, fuck. Okay. Like I
I
can't
have
do
not.
anything.
I fortunately have not, but I'm like, I can only imagine just like being stuck in a room. You're just like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like you just you and your thoughts and just like
You just have a lot of time to think about all the things.
exactly.
But at that point, I kind of just decided I was like really fed up with myself and my life, and I just didn't see it really going anywhere. And one thing about me, I've always kind of been this way, but like if I decide I'm gonna make a change or like I'm gonna do something, or if I see something that I want to do, like I'll
Right.
just completely divert. I'll be going one way, and I'll be like, all right, this is it. I'm changing everything. So I
Right.
kind of just dove into it and I started out running and tracking my food. I remember learning how to track my macros a couple
Okay.
different ways. I remember watching a bikini competitor. Her name's Emily Hayden. She was like one of the first big YouTube stars that I started watching. And then
Okay.
also this gal, Chrissy May Cagney, she was like big in the CrossFit world. She wrote
Okay.
a book about flexible dieting. So started learning how to
Ooh.
do that, track the macros, started running, started doing these like home workouts in my living room. And I started filming everything and putting it on YouTube. And I had a little blog. And then after that, I just kind of caught the bug. Like I started building a home gym. I
Okay.
remember like distinctly being in the middle of like separating from my husband at the time. And like I would be in the guest room just working out, and everyone would be in my house partying. And
Right.
I'd come out and everyone would like make fun of me. Oh, you're gonna have your protein shake now, and like all this shit. I'm like, hell yeah. So it was kind of like this gradual thing. It wasn't all at once, but then one day, I don't know. I started getting kind of obsessed with bikini, like the bikini competitions, and I was like,
Right.
you know what? If she can do it, then I can do it. Like, why couldn't I?
Right.
Why couldn't I look like that? And I think I was just ready for something to challenge myself. So I know that was a very long-winded answer, but I saw it and I set my sights on it and I hired a coach. And from the very
Yeah.
first prep that I did, I knew that I was hooked. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing this for a long time.
Yeah. What you said a lot of good things, but the one thing I think about is that you just can't take the winner. You can't take when you actually are wanting to do something and you do it with like a level of intensity and passion, like you can't take someone away from it. Like they say, like kind of a dog on a bone mentality where it's like once that dog has got that bone, like that's all they're gonna focus on. And I can relate because I mean, I didn't go through like such an abusive marriage, but like I'm still currently going through a divorce, but it's kind of the fact that I would work all the time. And one of the biggest things I wanted to do is like, I just wanted to go to the gym and work out because growing up when I was young, I had asthma and it was pretty bad where I needed like a nebulizer. And I
Oh
just
shit.
started finding, yeah, I started finding ways to like push myself because at that point in time, I didn't really pursue athletics. So I was like, damn, this really sucks. So like, there was this vision of me growing up where it's like I want to just be in like I tell people this joke and it's like it's a joke but I'm serious about it. It's like I want to be like 100 years old and still doing fucking clean and jerks. I don't fucking care if it's like 50 pounds, like just in shape and just like living a healthy lifestyle. And I just think about going to the gym and when I started, which was on May 1st, I literally was going like 6, 7 days a week. When you're talking about like that obsessive drive of just going to the gym all the time, I can relate to that because it's like there's just that part of me. It's like I'm very obsessive, and I like to focus on things that I can control in the sense. So like I'm obsessive about like learning and reading and exercise and even like eating. And so it's the fact that it's like I want to do those things because I know that if I don't do those things, I just start feeling really out of place. Like I feel off. Like even like I haven't gone to the gym for a few weeks because I've been sick. And I'm like, dang, I feel antsy. I feel like something's missing. It's like you need to get your ass to the gym, bro. And so like that when you were mentioning all these things, I'm like, yeah, people are gonna think you're weird no matter what you do. And I know you kind of relate to this mindset, but it's like, who gives a fuck? Like in all actuality, like you need to do what's best for your life, number one. And if people are mad about that, then they're really not your friends, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what people I would want to associate with who didn't support like whatever I was doing if it was like a positive thing,
Right.
you know? That I
Right.
definitely have a very similar mentality in that I try not to even really think about what other people are gonna think. Like I'm gonna do what makes my life good and fulfilled, and
Right.
that's really, and the people I care about, obviously
Right.
they're doing good too. But I think that when you start to like worry or be concerned about that, you kind of get off your lane, you get off your path, you get off direction
Right.
a little bit. Like if you start to
Right.
care, and if you're concerned for what other people are going to think about it or how it's going to impact other people, like affects your ability to live your life to your fullest, then that's a
Yeah.
problem too, you know?
Yeah. And I've thought about it this way. It's like when you stay in your lane, you're in a whole lane by yourself. But once you start looking at other people and like comparing, and I think that there's a level of maturity or there's a healthy level of comparison, but typically comparison is very negative because it just drives you to be like, I don't have what this person has, I don't have this. And it's like I think it's once you really develop like a strong mind where you're
Mm.
like, hey, like I see this person has this result, that means I just got to work harder. And again, I'm still like I wouldn't say I'm not at your level in the sense where like I haven't gone to the gym straight for multiple years, but it's the fact that it's like I know I can get there. And I think there's like a level of healthy maturity to compare, but it takes the right time to I guess to digest it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but to really like look at someone else's results and say, wow, that's awesome. I'm proud of them for doing that. I can learn so much from that person. Because most people when they compare, it's like it's immediately negative.
Well, I
So
think the distinction there is that you're taking something and you're getting motivation from it or inspiration versus
right,
comparison in the negative sense of like coming from a place of feeling not enough or not worthy. Like it's one thing to
right,
look at people who maybe have been in the game for longer than you, look at them and go, "Oh wow, that's something that I could aspire to be," versus,
right.
"Oh, why am I not there yet?"
Right. And I think that's like 90% of people where there's like, I don't have this result. I'm not there yet. So I'm frustrated. But it's just, I just work backwards. Like at some point, that person was in my shoes. Like that person could have been way out of shape. They could have been in a worse spot than I was and probably worked out a little bit later in life. I'm just starting. So if I remain consistent, I could have similar, if not better results at a better time. And all these other things like going to the gym, eating healthy, drinking, sleeping, like those things factor up. And I'm not even like educated. I would say I just like listen from my friends who compete and do this stuff like eat healthy, like drink lots of water, sleep. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
So
Well, the
yeah,
coolest thing about what you're saying too is that like, and I didn't I like I said, I still feel like the credits are rolling. I still feel like I'm just like getting warmed up. I don't think there
right,
really is ever like an end to it when you truly accept that this is a lifestyle that you enjoy and you really
right,
start to find the value and the serotonin and the dopamine that you get from the daily task of following through with yourself or actually completing something that's physically very demanding, mentally very
right,
demanding, and requires for you to zoom out and look at the bigger picture and not base that validation solely on something that happens quickly. You start to
right,
look at the long term, it becomes a part of your mental well-being. I know that this is
for
true
sure.
for me because I had no idea when I first got into bodybuilding or just the workouts that I was doing in my living room. I had no idea how much it would change me at my core, how
Right.
much it would change the direction of my life from the things that I was doing internally, not just driven
Right.
by the physicality of it or the aesthetics of it. And I
Right.
got into bodybuilding for the aesthetics. I wanted to look a certain way, 100%.
Right.
And I realized going through that first prep, I was like, I started to really have a huge appreciation for what it did as far as challenging mentally, for what it
Right.
did in terms of dialing down the circle of people that I hung around with,
For
the
sure.
the material that I was consuming, whether it was media or, you know, the food that I was eating, all of it. Um,
Right.
it really happens over time. It's not something that happens overnight, but I think it's really cool to hear that you just started in May and you're already having an appreciation for that side of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, so, like, I drive around a lot for what I do for work, and so as I'm driving around, I just think about like, again, this is over the span of years. This is not, but I captured myself thinking this way multiple times. It's just like I just want to put some sort of progress of getting in shape because it's like I'm eating out all the time. I'm working on that part for sure, but just like not eating super great, like drinking a lot of energy drinks, which isn't bad, but it's like I would drink like I used to drink like 3 to 4 Red Bulls a day, like as like
Oh,
a daily consumption. I don't drink Red Bulls anymore because I know they're not that great.
because they're
Um,
disgusting.
yeah, that. But I usually drink like Ghost. I like that a lot better. Those are my favorites. Specifically the cherry limeade and the grape. Those are my two favorite ones.
I'm like
Uh,
obsessed with that grape one right now. The Welch's one is fire.
yeah, I'm just like they need to keep it because it's like I don't get rid of some other one, but keep that one. It literally tastes like grape juice, and I was like, yes, freaking grape juice. But I just remember thinking like, because I would go to the gym and I would really compare, but like way before, like when I was in high school, I remember going to the gym, but super part time, like 3 days a week, like maybe about an hour. I'm like, that's fine. But there just came this part of me that's like, I want to be healthy. I don't want to be 85 and old and fat. It's like, it's a really bad image. And that's the way I think. It's like, I don't want to be old and out of shape. My mother, she works in like the medical field. And so it was hard to like seeing a lot of these older people that were just like not living super healthy. And I was like, I don't want that. And I don't want to start working out too late because I don't want to just be like you said. You had a specific definition or specific like physique you wanted, and I was like, that's kind of the same thing for me. I don't want to be like a huge bodybuilder, and that's I know it's a preference, but I just want to be freaking lean and shredded and in shape. Like I know it's not going to be all here tomorrow. I know it's going to take a lot of work, and it's like a lifelong goal. But for me, that's what's so important. Is like as long as I'm putting work towards that, that's all that matters to me. Um, and yeah, that's where I want to put that. So
That's so awesome. I'm super proud of you, by the way, for just
thank
like
you.
initiating that. I think the hardest part for a lot of people is starting. But like you said, it sounds like you've had some good influences and some good examples that you
For
could
sure.
follow and just kind of jump right in. And I really admire that type of mentality too, because I'm the same way. Like I'm not going to let the fact that I don't know how to do something stop me from doing it or that I'm not very good at it. And I see
Right.
that in you. You're like, I don't care. I'll just do what these guys are doing and I'm just going to go and I'm going to keep doing it. That's super dope.
Right.
A lot of people like you said earlier, I see a lot of people just kind of give up before they even get
Right.
started. Or I think that comes down to a mindset even going into it that people are thinking about it as a temporary thing. Like,
Right.
no, this is a lifestyle thing. It's not like a
Right.
temporary diet. It's like, no, it's the way I eat all the time because it makes me feel amazing, perform amazing, or the sleep that you're getting, or cutting down on the caffeine, all those little things.
Right. And that's what honestly, like, no offense to certain like even the word diet. I don't like the word diet because it promotes that at some point or like the meaning of it. It's like it's only something for short term. It's not something that you're gonna keep. That's why even when I talk about food, is like I don't have a specific like food I don't eat or do eat. I just want to eat as healthy as possible. And so like I don't have a specific goal or anything right now. I just want to get myself in the gym and just keep a consistent workout regimen because, you know, I don't know the correct percentages, but it's like 30, 40% of and actually seeing like your body change is literally working out. A majority of it is what you eat. And I was like, holy shit. I remember like one specific day, like a few months ago, I ate all whole foods, like all green, all salads, like no like fast food and shit. I was like, I felt so good. My stomach felt so happy. And like, I didn't have, because I have a little bit of a sensitive stomach. And so it's like when I eat certain things, I'm like, oh my God, like that hurts. Or like, I feel like I'm about to have like a food coma knockout. Like that day, I was like, I just felt good. Like green, healthy. Like it was like a Whole Foods, like it's like a walnut beet salad or something. I was like, I don't even eat this on the daily, but this tasted so good. My body was like, big check. And so I get that people, and this is not medically acclaimed or anything, but I just like eating healthy. Like some people eat healthy because of certain reasons, like competing and all this stuff. But I just want to eat food that my body agrees with. And I think that's so important, like really listening to what your body wants. And yeah, even when you're talking about exercising at the gym, we have freaking YouTube now. You have like the internet. You can literally watch a video of someone like doing a workout, and you can just do that on your phone. And like the ability of resources is not the problem anymore. It's just the lack of actually following through on it. See, if you're going to the gym, I don't think a lot of people have the mindset I have, at least for like people who are just getting started. It's like I really desire to work out at the gym because I want to have a change. Most people are like, oh, I just want this result and it's over.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to live healthy. I want to be healthy. So that requires going to the gym. And so again, like my gym is actually in Seattle. So it's like I come out here and I come out here, I work, and then I go home. So the biggest thing for me is just like, again, it's all about lifestyle. Because you were saying it earlier, it's like you have the choice to pick whatever you want in your life, the people you hang out with, the foods you eat, the decisions you make. And it sucks because there are some decisions that are out of our control, but the decisions we do make, we've really got to own them. Because if you don't own them, unfortunately, like it's going to follow you the rest of your life. And you're going to kind of create this, like, I don't want to say like victim mentality, but you feel like there's someone else to blame but you. And I know we've agreed on this a few times where it's like the only thing you can control are your decisions. Control how those decisions affect you, the decisions you make, and like moving forward, what you're going to do to change it. And I just don't think people think like that anymore. I think we're starting to, but most people are just like, it's someone else's fault. It's like, no, you got to look at how you like contributed to whatever situation. So
So true. Radical ownership. It's funny when you say
yeah.
that you have to own your decisions. I really like that because it's like, are you actually following through with the things that you said you were going to do to yourself? Because that's at like,
Right.
if the answer is no to that, you're not going to be able to show up to anything else in your life
Right. Right.
ever.
Because then you face you in the mirror. Like you don't have to worry about anyone else. You can worry about what other people think. And that's where I had to start shifting. It's like I have to look at myself in the mirror on the day to day, like let alone everyone else. But for me, I have to know that I stand firm in what I'm doing. I have to know that the reason why I'm getting up every day to do this, and I'll be honest, like as of lately, like I said, I've been sick. I've been feeling extremely lazy. But even calling yourself out, like knowing when to call yourself out in an appropriate way. I don't mean like beating yourself up, like, oh my God, you fucking suck, piece of shit. Like, no, like I am lazy right now, and that's okay. But this is the decision I've made, and being good with that because you need to be good with the life you're living. Because a lot of my life, I literally lived with like beating myself up over every little decision. And it's like, hey, sometimes you're going to make a mistake. Sometimes you're going to make a decision you don't like. It's okay. Look at it, make the change, and grow. And it's not even like I'm being heartless. It's the fact that I think that, yes, we need to like be in touch with our feelings, but we also need to know like what's the right thing to do, and like, especially when it comes to, yeah, going to the gym or making a tough decision about being around certain people. Like, if like someone is being negative towards you and they're not, I don't want to say necessarily benefiting you, but they're not being a positive person in your life, I'm sorry, they got to go. Because like that kind of person is just going to bring you down further. And like I just learned in my life that like I only have so much energy, so much like bandwidth of the people I have in my circle. And I want it to be people that are positive and really care about me and encourage me and inspire me. Otherwise, like I'll be honest, I don't have time.
Yeah.
And I'm a very kind person, but like I've had to like develop this kind of persona where it's like I can be kind and friendly to people, but people that want to come into my circle, like they have to be like they have to know these things. It's not just like, hey, come in and join the club. It's like we got to know you're a positive person to be around.
I
So
think a lot of people struggle with boundaries like that. That's
yeah,
thing that translates across not even just fitness people, but humankind in general. I think that's part of the human condition. But do
for
you
sure.
find, I know, I think that this is how I feel at least, but I think that when you do start to take that radical ownership for things,
Yeah,
despite there are things that happen in life, like you said, that are out of your control, there are
right,
going to be things that happen that are just downright shitty. But
right,
by taking ownership for how you react and how you respond and what you do next from that, I've found
right,
that it eliminates so much stress. It almost feels just like a weight's completely off because if you don't give value to like this thing or this situation or this person or this circumstance, like
right,
did this or that's why this happened, and you just own it, it's like, oh, well, if I'm the problem, then there's a solution. There's always a
right. Well, and I think the problem is like we really overcomplicate situations, and there are situations that have a lot of moving parts in it. But I think when you take ownership, it allows you to literally, in my mind, like it cuts through the BS of your feelings for just a moment. And it's just like, this is what the problem is. How do I solve it? Because I think, humans are emotional creatures. And unfortunately, like that's the way we are. Like I know people are logical. Some people are like, they don't really express their feelings well, but nonetheless, like we feel our feelings.
Yeah,
And
but don't
so
you
to,
think emotions like on the inverse of that are pretty cool? They allow you to have like this crazy like ebb and flow of
oh,
enjoyment
absolutely.
versus yeah.
Absolutely. Like emotions aren't bad. I just think that let me reword it differently. Emotions are necessary. I'm just expressing that like if we 100% guide ourselves with just emotion,
Yeah.
that can be a problem. I honestly believe there needs to be like a balance, like 50% emotion and 50% logic. I know you can't really dictate that, but like they both add a weight into your decisions. It's
I
not all
agree. I
logic
think
and it's
if you're
yeah,
if you're acting 100% from an emotional place, it's not going to be good. Usually it's
right.
not that good. Like
Right.
you have
And
to use your brain a little.
right. And but then also that's the thing about logic too. Like people will say like be logical. And it's like I think it's good to have like a logical standpoint. But again, if you live yourself too far on logic, then it can come off as you don't care about the other person that you're talking to or the situation you're going through. So that's why it's like it's important to have both. And I apologize, we're jumping around different places. I know you love that, but
No,
it's
I
just
love
the
it.
fact.
The whole
Cool.
premise of this podcast is just I don't want to edit anything. I just want to talk through
Yeah.
you and get in your brain a little bit and just
Yeah.
create it. Yeah. So keep
Feel
going.
free, pick anything out of my brain. I always tell people I'm an open book. Like, if anything, now I just feel like there needs to be more conversations where people are open books. Because if not, then people are going to look at you and they just see it. Like, have you heard that saying or that kind of perspective where like people see you but they don't really know you?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so, right. And I feel like a lot of people, especially in today's time, like, we go on Instagram and we go on social media. And I love social media, but I bash on it just a little bit because, in a way, it's great to have a platform where people get to know you, but they don't really know who you are. Like, they'll see your posts, they'll see what you're doing, but they don't really get to know you like personally on I don't feel like an intimate level, but just like on a friendship level. And
Mhm.
so I think not everyone. That might be a different perspective, but I was just gonna say, feel free to ask any question.
No, it's really funny that you brought this up actually because I was thinking about this earlier on my walk and I was
Yeah,
like I know other people have they share this sentiment, but social media is really fucking cool if you think about like the connection we were able to make and
it's
how
amazing.
there's so many ways to find that energetic alignment with people now because everyone is at your
Right,
hips, whereas like ages ago
right,
we couldn't see each other if you were across the country or whatever.
right. I
But
wouldn't
then
have
on
known you
the
existed.
inverse, yeah, exactly. But on the inverse of that, I have seen it on the other side where there are these characters that exist on social.
Right,
You actually know these people for real, it's something completely different from what you're getting. So, but I think it's cool when you do find people like yourself who are
Right,
real and authentic and representing just something pure. I really enjoy that aspect of it the most, and so
right.
that is one reason why I started this podcast as well. Again, coming back to the fact
Yeah.
that inspired me was just, I want
Thank
to
you.
do something that's just from the heart. I don't even care what
Yeah.
about. Obviously, I'm a bodybuilder, have a lot of bodybuilder friends, so we're going to talk about that a lot. Fitness is a huge
Right.
part of my life. But these are the types of conversations I just enjoy having. And these are, so I believe when we die,
Yeah.
we will have created some type of electrical charge while we were here, like
For
putting
sure.
these inputs out, like input, input, input. Eventually, you end up like it starts coming back around and it's got like this charge. And the more you hit it, it's like a wheel, the faster it goes. You can
Okay.
put positive inputs into that or negative. And these things are always kind of going to be coming from other sources too, because everyone can do this, right? Everyone's
Right.
energy out into this like collective consciousness, if you will. So it's almost like a
Right.
battle of like the negative inputs versus how much. And so I find these kinds of conversations really refreshing because I believe this is like an input for more inputs, like a conduit, if you will, that we're
Right.
now.
Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of interesting things you said, but I think the biggest thing too is like, there's that whole concept of paying it forward. And it's like we kind of forgotten how to do that. And I think that when you mentioned like the positive inputs and the negative inputs, I think that in life, like it's always going to expose you to different opportunities. Like I always try to find like one or two good things every day that I can do for someone else, not just for me. So it's like, how can we leave our footprints like when we die? Like I love that because it's like some people think that it's bad to think like that. It's like, no, like if you think with the end in mind, then you can start like getting pulled by the decisions you make towards that result. And I think that when
Exactly.
right, and because I think it was who, God, Melanie Robbins, I think she said this. When you think of the person you want to be and you start like making decisions towards that person, you actually start becoming that person. It's not
Yeah.
a fake it till you make it concept because people
Yeah.
say that a lot. And it's like, I don't really like that shit. I know some people like, yeah, it's great. Some it's not. It's like, honestly, just be the person, like, just make good decisions.
Yeah.
Don't think about the future. Think about making great decisions in the present. By doing that, you're going to have a great future. And I understand there are some things you will need to plan, of course, but you just got to focus on like one foot in front of the other every day and making
Yeah.
sure you're good. You're impacting your community somehow, some way for the positive. Because I think nowadays, like there's just so much like, and to address this too, social media is a great tool. I'm not going to disagree with that. It's a great tool to network, to meet great people like ourselves. Like I cannot tell you, like when you told me you were going to do this podcast, like let me go back to that for a minute. I was so overjoyed because I'm like, listen, I know you were a character in and of itself, and the fact that we're going to drop this, I was like, listen, put me on an episode, please. I want to like pay respect just to you because you don't just kick ass in the gym. Like I see your posts, I see like your reels and stuff, and it's like you're just a go-getter. You want to travel and explore and just hang out with your dogs, like go to the garden, smoke a blunt, listen to Wu-Tang. I was listening to Pretty Lights yesterday and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to some Pretty Lights because fuck it, I was in the mood. But it's just the fact that it's like to think that if there was no social media, I would not know this amazing person I'm on the phone with because it's like it would not have existed. But the fact is, yeah, this technology is a great thing. I just know that, like with any great tool, like how the internet can be a great thing, it also has some, I don't say some negatives, but the thing about social media that I don't like is with a lot of like the trolls and a lot of like the haters. I came from like a social media hiatus. I just started getting on social media around December of 2023. So this is all relatively new to me. Um, so when you share like how all these social media platforms are a great tool. They are so useful because it's not just a way for you to like track your life, but it's also a way for you to like share your accomplishments. Just like we were talking about earlier, like you want to share your wins and successes with your friends. And obviously your friends are going to be on social media. And so that's the biggest thing I like about it too, is like I just know that the people who really take the time to like and to comment and to repost stuff, I know those are the people that really care about me. And there are some people that just like my stuff. That's cool. But I like the fact that even going back to why you started this podcast too, like it's just the heart of just wanting to share and like do something for good. Like that's the reason why I started mine, is because it's like I just wanted to, even if one person like hears my podcast, listens to it, and just takes away like a little nugget, that's why I did it. I'm not
Mhm.
doing it to like, I'm not doing this to quote unquote be a podcaster and make millions of dollars. That'd be fucking nice. Like, let's be honest. I would love to just make money doing podcasts, but it's the fact that I just want to know I'm impacting someone's life that I might be directly connected to or not.
Mhm.
And so I appreciate just again you taking the time to even have me on here, because I know like there are probably dozens of people that are like, let me on the podcast. And
Bruh,
I'm
you're
like,
gonna be on like 30 more at least.
listen,
So
anytime. I'd even clarify like my schedule is so lax. Like I just DoorDash full time. So it's like I'll push
well,
that later. It's not a big
I was
deal.
gonna ask you what you did for a living because I basically drive for work too. That's why you see me like on the road all the time.
Yeah, I was actually that was the question I want. Okay, let's ask that question of each other, because I'm like, let's back it up for a second. What do you do? Because I remember, I'll be honest, I only listened to the first episode. I got to do some catch up, but Aaron said that you recently got a job, and I was like, what? I thought you were just traveling for like competitions and stuff. I was like, I didn't know you were traveling for something else.
Mhm.
So what do you actually do for work?
Well, one thing that I mentioned is like sometimes I just will pivot on things. Like if I
Sure.
feel like something is just like not fitting, I'll be like, you know what? I got to try it a different way because like this isn't working. So I went from coaching to sales. And
Okay.
now, yeah, so I am basically a traveling sales rep. I cover
Okay.
the entire state of Nevada, and I was just recently in Southern Oregon. So I'll go up there sometime.
Okay.
But my company covers a ton of states like Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, Oregon, kind of all over the place. So
Okay.
basically, they set up the leads, and I drive to people's homes and I sell our
Okay.
product. So basically, we are in charge of like medical tubs, like walk-in tubs for people, elderly
Okay.
people or people with Parkinson's, things like that. Um,
Okay.
and like walk-in showers and things like that, where most of my customers are like elderly people who need to
For
make a
sure.
switch in their home so they have something safe so they can age in place. So,
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's cool because like so my mom's been working in the medical field forever. Like if there's one stereotype that Filipinos have, it's like doctor or nurse. Like so
absolutely.
so it's just like when you're talking about this stuff, like, yep, yep, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. But that's really cool. I mean, congratulations to that. I mean, honestly, I feel like sales is just a general job for any fucking go-getter. So you gotta make money, you want to be in charge, like go into sales, do fucking something to make some money. Like
Dude,
that, and that's
honestly,
how
if
I feel. Yeah,
you would have asked me at any point of my life up until this point that if that was what I would be doing, I would have laughed at you because I would have like, hell no, am I getting a sales? I'm not a salesperson. But it turns
right,
out I've had a lot of experience with sales in my life, anyways,
right.
doing multiple different things. But yeah, I really love it. All of a sudden, I got into it and I was like, this is so much fun. I drive around all day and just talk to different people and go to people's homes and help
That's
people.
what's up.
I had this client, they're like my favorite customers to this day. He, this guy was obsessed with Christmas.
Okay.
He had their home was like this vintage thrift store just full of like antique Christmas things. Like the
Oh,
whole
I love
decor
that.
of the whole house. And he had Christmas, he was covered like head to toe in Christmas tattoos. And I was like, this whole time, like, this dude is so rad. And his wife starts telling me he has Parkinson's. He's like starting to get into the really severe stages of Parkinson's. So they're telling me like the
Mm,
story about all these things. And while I was there, I saw this picture from the Blues Brothers, which was one of my favorite movies as a kid, by the way, if you haven't.
okay. I don't think I've seen that. Honestly, I
Classic
don't think I've
movie.
seen that.
All right. Well, it's good. But it's like this picture of Jim Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, and I was like, that's dope. I love the Blues Brothers, and he's like, oh, you should have that picture. And while I was in their home, like they gave me this little trinket, and I'll never forget them because of that. But
Oh,
just the experience of hearing about like his life and how his whole thing was like he was Santa. He did Santa at the mall. He did Santa at
oh,
the and everywhere like that. He was Santa, so that's why he was like obsessed with Christmas. But little memories like that again connections
right.
that I'm really enjoying. Aspects of the job that I'm really enjoying is the connections like that and the people that I've been able to help.
Absolutely. And I love that because like, well, so when you talk about living and like being in the moment and like getting those little moments of connecting with people, I love that. Like that's one of the biggest things like I'm starting to realize about life is that, I'm 28. So it's like I would say I'm still fairly young, but it's the fact that's like some people look at their life now and it's like they see it as over. And I'm like, no, like enjoy every little moment. Like start actually living the life the way you want to. And if you don't know what you're gonna do, like find some way to give back to someone, like be a nice person because I think that especially now, like there's a part like there's this mindset of taking care of yourself with self-care and I believe in that, but there's also a part where it's like being completely selfish and like just caring about you all the time where it's like it's all about you. And so when I think about living life today, it's like, yeah, live life in the moment. Like instead of like going to this coffee shop, go to another one. You don't know who you're ever going to meet. Like I love meeting different people. I love going to different places because I'm just like, I do value routine, but it's like I like also breaking out of routine. I like having a little bit of both because if you're too rigid, then you're never going to really live life. And it's like life is meant to be lived. I don't want to start living it when I'm like 85. I want to
Right?
start
That's how
living
I
it now.
feel. I am 100% that person that will pull over if I'm driving somewhere. If I see something that's like,
Right.
oh, I got to go check that out. Like I'm gonna go 100%. Actually, you mentioned just kind of like a coffee shop and like trying a new coffee
Yeah.
shop. I want to give a shout out to this place that I recently was in
Okay.
Roseburg, Oregon. If you haven't been, it's like this old logging town. There's homes there from like the 1800s.
Oh,
It's a small town, but it has like, it's old. It's got like classic vibes. Downtown, there's a new record store that's also a coffee shop and also a pub. And the music's
yes.
great. It's a great environment. It's called Reverie. So if anyone has a chance to go there, go check it out. But one of those things where I
Listen.
was like in the neighborhood and I was like, this place looks kind of dope. Like I was just on Google Maps, like looking for coffee shops, and I'm gonna go check it out.
Yeah.
It was so legit.
That's the thing. It's like, well, first off, if you're ever in Washington, please let me know. I know like I'm starting to learn all the different places specifically in downtown Seattle, but even all the way around, like there are some pretty cool like coffee shops that
No
aren't
doubt.
Starbucks. Please let me know.
Coffee's big in the Pacific Northwest, and I appreciate that about you guys.
Yeah.
You don't fuck
It's so
around.
huge. Yeah,
Do you
no, like
ever go to Bellevue?
I do. Yeah, I haven't been to Bellevue in some time, but Bellevue is my spot. Like
There's
I
a
know that city like the back of my hand.
there's a super dope gym there called Tiger Gate.
Tiger Gate. Ooh, I haven't
Yes.
heard of that.
Go
The
check that
gym.
place out. You're gonna absolutely love it. It's full of like new tech equipment, and the owner's a badass and
Tiger
has
Gate.
this like awesome little dog that he dresses up in a French fry suit and he
Yeah.
walks around. It's badass. Go check that
You
place out.
sent text me the link. You have my number now. You can text me anytime.
Yeah.
I will if you're ever here, I want to show you the gym I go to. It's in downtown. They just opened up a second location, but shout out to them. Henry's Gymnasium.
Is
They
that the place
are
with all the cool like vintage mirrors and stuff on the
yeah, so
wall?
that's their
Oh
first
yeah.
location, but they just opened a second one on Capitol Hill, which is like literally like I would say like a 10-minute drive north, but it's still in downtown. Um, it's more badass. They just installed their like a badass cold plunge. I haven't actually gone seen it yet, but when I do, I'll post it on my Instagram. But they have a cold plunge machine, and it's like an actual fucking tank. It's not just like a little tiny like inflatable thing. They have double the space. So the old gym, they still have both, but the one in Queen Anne, that's 7,000 square feet. The new one is 15,000 square feet. So you're getting double the room and they're going to have more badass equipment.
That's so
Um,
see now I want to go back up. I was just in Oregon. I'm like, I feel like I need to go to Washington and check out
if
Henry.
you come to Washington, let me know. Cause I think they said like a day pass is like 20 fucking bucks. 20 fucking bucks. I'm like, yeah, fucking come up. And
one of my favorite things about like being on the road is finding new gyms too.
yeah, you have to let me know how it is because it's like outside looking in, I think the gym is completely badass, but it's like I want to know from like because I would consider myself like a fitness enthusiast, but like as someone who like values like going to the gym because I honestly actually let's talk about that. How many days do you go to the gym during the week? Do you go like 5, 6 days a week? Do you just go 7 days? Like fuck it, like all the time?
I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of weeks that I'm there 7 days, but it's not because
Yeah,
I'm there training 7 days, but there's other things that I do there, like my stretching, I'll do the red light
right.
therapy or the tanning, or just
Yeah,
cardio or my abs or something little like that. But usually
right,
no, usually I take one full rest day per week. And right
right.
now my split, I train 5 days a week for resistance
Okay,
training, and then I have like my cardio and my posing and my stretching and stuff on top of that. So
okay.
there really is something to do as a competitor every day, especially with the with the posing aspect. That's something that I do every day, regardless. So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
like
I'm
because
kind of a gym rat. I like it there. It's nice there.
I just can't get enough of the gym because it's like I just love the fact that because a lot of people again, a lot of people go to the gym like some people go to the gym because they actually want to get in shape. Some people go to the gym because it's like a social place, and some people just go to the gym because it's something to do. Like I just love it. Like when I go to the gym and like you're doing a set, and my favorite right now is they have this one machine there. It's called it's a leg press, but it's not like an angled leg press like this. It's fully 90 degrees. So your legs are pushing up on this weight. I don't
Yeah,
know why. I just fucking love the hard shit. People are like, why would you do that? It's like, because it's fucking fun. And they're like, wait, what? I don't know. Like, I just love working out because it's like, I like pushing myself. Like, I am a bit of a nerd, actually. Like I grew up playing a lot of video games. So that was like my where I channeled this like obsessive, like driven drive, like getting everything, hitting all the goals and all that stuff. Now that's kind of transferred to the gym where it's like
yeah. Get to
I
the
wa-
next level.
right, exactly. And so it's like, I have this certain result I want. I know it's gonna take a certain amount of time, but I'm just like, hey, like there's no problem. Like as long as I stay diligent and work out, like that's the only thing that really is stopping me. And so like, and you had mentioned this way early on. I love that you mentioned this. It really all comes down to the people you surround yourself with. Because if you don't surround yourself with people that aren't excited about what you're doing, then it's almost like, then why are you around them? And so like
Yeah,
that's why I'm really specific now. It's like I know I can count at least with my two hands, the people I'm super close to that like I know that if I told them about something, they'd be excited about it. I know you're one of them, and that's just not like podcast talk. Like I know you're just a really positive, like kick-ass person. But it's just the fact like you want to find those people that are excited about what you're doing. They don't have to be like super like fired up, but they should just be in general. It's like, hey, like I'm glad you're doing something and I'm excited for you, like on a bare
yeah,
minimum.
yeah,
But I love having people like that in my life because it's like, in a way, they also drive you. Because, like, if there was this study Harvard did a few years ago, and they say if you take your top five friends and you take the average of all they do, everything, incomes, like how they live, all that, you would be the average of that. And so it's like, okay, then I need to surround myself with freaking gym rats, freaking like smart ass people. Like I want to learn as much as I can from others and also like be be able to help others too. It's not just a one-way street. Because I think there's this concept, because I've encountered this a few times where people are like, there's this whole concept of where people think they use you as like a stepping stone. And I'm like, I honestly tell people, like, please, like, feel free to use me as a stepping stone because I want people to fucking grow in my life. We just have the wrong perspective
yeah.
because if you're growing with growing people, everyone's going to grow. But
I
when
think
you're,
that
yeah,
perspective thing is so important to bring up too, because it translates to what you were saying before about the gym and like getting in the mode of like I like to do the hard shit.
yeah,
If you just go into something, anything in life with a certain perspective, like you're gonna find confirmation bias for that perspective, like whatever you're thinking.
absolutely.
So if you can flip
Absolutely.
that into something that is like, oh, this is so meditative, I really enjoy like trying to push, and I find so much enjoyment in getting that one more rep that I've been working for 2 weeks or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I think that that's a really good point to bring up. And that's one of the reasons that I had you on this podcast is because you have so much insight when it comes to perspective. And I was like,
Thank you.
I'm actually kind of curious what led you down this path of wanting to share these types of like this type of material. It's
Sure.
intellectual, it's existential. Like what got you to this point?
Um, I mean, I feel like it's a few different things. I mean, number one, like I mentioned early on, like, going through a divorce and still understanding, like, I tell people, like, I've had more midlife crises than most people in their 50s, just because it's like I've been at so many points in my life always questioning, like, what the fuck is the next step? And it's always the fact that I never thought about what I really wanted to do. Like growing up, there wasn't a set plan. I just knew, like, honestly, I wanted to travel, I wanted to help people, and I wanted to have like adventures in life. I wanted to have like, I wouldn't say like a posse, but I wanted to have a group of people that were just like excited about life. And it's like it's hard to find that when there's a world of like hundreds of millions of people. And so I'm a very like happy-go-lucky kind of guy, but I've also unfortunately, like, that kind of happy-go-lucky guy has gone through a lot of like trust issues. And so it's like what led me down this path? I think it's just we don't have enough people talking about the harder topics. Like we have people talking about what's great and what's good, but not a lot of people are having those hard conversations about what's going on in life today. Like, like God knows, like people are probably like on social media rating about like different things about like voting and all these policies. And I'm like, honestly, like this might seem rather insensitive, so I apologize, but like none of that right now directly affects my life 100%.
Yeah.
Like going back to ownership, it's like you control like what's going on in your life. And so like right now, like I look at like if I again, it just goes back to that simple root where I just want to be in a position where I can give and add value to people older than me, younger than me, the same age as me at different points in their life, because there's at some point there's going to be a question someone has to ask themselves. It's like, are they actually living their life to their fullest potential? Like, are they actually like, are they thriving? Are they actually doing the things they want to do? Are they living the way they want to live? And if that's not the case, then you might have done something well with yourself, but you're not really building the life you want. Like, it doesn't matter if you want to be a monk or be like, a CEO. You still have to figure out a path to where you're going. But for me, I'm starting to understand and acknowledge um, myself. Like, again, we haven't known each other for too long, but it's the fact that I've never really been honest with myself and what I wanted. So in the first time in my life, I'm really learning to understand, like, what does my life look like? Where do I want it to go? How do I want to live? Who do I want to be around? And being more specific rather than being just broad. So
Mhm.
really it's just to impact others. And that's why I even tell people, like, if people are starting podcasts, like, put me on. It doesn't matter. Like for me, I care about not just impacting other people, but the other person on the line as well. Because I think that we all get hung up on like podcasting is such, it's not really a new thing, but like I think of like the OG podcasters are the people that were on the radio like in the
Yeah.
50s, like
Yeah.
talking about like the news and stuff. And it's like this is just a new form of it.
Yeah.
But actually being a voice for good, like in this world where there's all this just noise, all these bad things, like I just want to be one voice of like something good. That's
Yeah.
a long answer to your question, but
I love
I
that
hope I
answer.
answered that.
I
Thank you.
love that answer. That's amazing. I
Thank you.
was gonna say thank you too because you sent me a shirt a while back from
Yeah.
how do you say the name of it, that company?
So yeah, so the name is Deshire.
Okay. That
Yeah.
shirt is dope. It's like metal meets anime.
Yeah. So that came from the Attack on Titan collection.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually have that same shirt, but it's in a tank. That's why like I honestly they're like for people that I'm close to, I'll kind of find like a specific shirt. I'm like, okay, you're gonna get one, I'm gonna get one, we're gonna match. Because I just like having like connections with my friends, like
Mhm.
people that I'm really close to. And so like I have a few friends that I did that with as well, but That specific shirt, I haven't seen a lot of people post, so I'm very certain like you are one of the very few that actually got that shirt. So it is like I wouldn't say it's a one of one, but like it's a very rare
So
shirt. So
it's so
please,
dope. I love
thank
it so
you
much. I definitely need to take some pictures and send them and post them up because that was really
for
sweet.
sure.
And I definitely support
Yeah.
what you guys are doing over there. It's super artistic and creative, and I like the movement. I was able to listen to a couple of little podcasts that you had talking, I
Oh
think, with
gosh.
the owner there. So I don't know. I just
Yeah.
when I see something like that, I like to check it out. And y'all seem like solid people, so I definitely support what you guys.
Yeah. Thank you. And that's the biggest thing too is like I like to view building relationships this way because we kind of talked on social media and things like that. I think that when it comes to building relationships, I always prefer face to face if possible, if not like FaceTime, video, or phone call. But I feel like social media and like texting maintains the relationship, but like actually like phone calls and like things like this to actually get to know a person really builds the relationship. And
Yeah,
that's kind of like the viewpoint I have with you, with a lot of different people. I want to really like um, work with people, like partner with people and grow with people. Because honestly, like I grew up a lot of my life alone. Like I was a latchkey kid where I pretty much like my parents worked all the time. So it's like actually like I've coined this with a few people, but it's like actually being a friend
yeah,
like to people, like no
present.
bias, no bullshit. It's just like, hey, I'm rooting for you. Because people will always ask that question, like, why are you my friend? It's like simply because I want to be your friend. Like there's no other agenda. And I think that it surprises people because they're always looking for an ulterior motive. And I'm like, no, like I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't ever want to think like that. I just want to be someone's friend to be someone's friend.
There's so much there's so much beauty and heart in that, in actually opening yourself up to be able to give to people like that. That's something
Absolutely.
that's actually becoming very new to me as well, but feels really good because I think
Absolutely.
it's easy to either be guarded or just to be guarded of that energy or
Right.
skeptical or um I just saw a dog in the background and I got
Yeah.
distracted. I'm like
No,
a
you're
dog
good.
myself. I'm like, dog.
Yeah. No, you're the same way. Like
But yeah,
I'm
no,
here
I
in the
love that. I really, really do. Well, I feel like this whole hour just flew by,
it really
but
did.
I would love to have you as a guest on the podcast many more times if you'd be open to it.
Absolutely. I would love that, like nothing less. Like if anything, like you can just let me know in a few days or whichever and we'll hop on. Like
Yeah, awesome.
I yeah,
I think that the way that you're living your life and the way that you're representing yourself and doing what is right and choosing the things that you ultimately want to be is such a clean example of what we should all be striving for. Like none of us are going to be perfect. We're all going to make mistakes, but if we're doing the
right.
things we need to do each day just to continue to take that step forward and be that
Right.
change, that's what's going to make the world a better place in the long run. So,
Right. Right. Absolutely. And just like you said, it's like we mistake like, did we grow in that one moment or did we grow over time? It's like I think it's every right decision you make, you're putting yourself in the right direction to be the best person you can. Like there is no like level 100, like you're always going to be growing. And as long as you're growing and doing positive things, I don't see any problems, you know?
yeah, I agree.
So,
Well, we will
so
definitely do this again. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Thank you so
I
much.
will. You too, okay?